Great. Now we're gonna move on to cooking one of the most nutritious proteins out there, and also most affordable. We all love eggs. In this case, we love the eggs because of all the macronutrients that are in there, but we don't want to eat too much of the yolk because of the cholesterol content in it. So what I like to do is to eat maybe 1 or 2 yolks and separate the white from the yolks to get the most protein possible without the extra cholesterol. So I'm going to teach you how to crack the egg and separate the yolk from the white in this way. First, I like to have a scrap bowl handy, a bowl so I can put my yolk and whites in it. We need some salt for flavor, and obviously eggs. I do this every single day. I usually eat about 3 eggs, 3 whole eggs, and probably 3 whites. I know I like my protein. First, I like to crack my egg on the rim of my scrap bowl, not contaminating my actual bowl where I'm going to put my eggs. Remember, eggs are linked to salmonella and other foodborne illnesses, and you do not want to get those illnesses or foodborne illnesses on your food. I'm going to crack the egg open, throw away this piece, and then just lay the egg on my hand and allow the yolk to sit between my fingers. As you can see, I wear gloves because of this. I don't want my fingers, whatever is in my fingers, maybe potentially bacteria, to get on the glove. I did wash my hands, but you never know, and you just want to be safe. I like to dispose of the yolk. I personally use it for hair treatments and other things. Then I'm going to grab my second egg and I'm going to put the entire egg in there because I want that cholesterol, but I just don't want all of it. And this is a simple yet most sanitary way to separate eggs. Great. Now that we've separated the eggs, we get to cook the eggs. The technique we're going to use is called pan frying, which means that you're going to coat the pan with just enough oil to cover it, but not submerge the food in the oil. What we're going to need to pan fry an egg is a small saute pan, your eggs, butter, and in my personal taste, I like to add some coconut oil for flavor. I also use salt and a little bit of water to create steam and cook the eggs perfectly through without leaving those whites clear, which I personally dislike. We need some spatulas for serving the eggs and just to manage them nice and gently. And of course, you need a serving plate to make sure your eggs get out of the heat and into the plate as soon as possible to prevent overcooking. You're also going to need a lid to create that steaming action and get those egg whites cooked all the way through. First, I'm going to go ahead and add my fat into the pan to just cover it. Sometimes I add too much, but all I do is just remove it out of the pan and just move on with my cooking process. I like to swirl the butter around the pan to make sure it's fully coated. See, I don't want the heat to be this high just because I don't want to overcook my eggs. So I'm going to go ahead and lower the heat and get a sizzle going. A very, very low sizzle. I also removed some butter out of the pan because it was way too much fat. Remember, pan frying is barely covering the pan. You do not want to deep fry your eggs. So don't be afraid when you add too much fat to remove fat. You remove calories and just extra fat that you just don't need. Now that we have some sizzling going, I want to add my eggs. See, I want the eggs to start turning white as soon as they hit the pan. I personally like to center my yolk, and you know, it's just my thing. So if I want the egg to stay centered, I just hold it there until the protein coagulates and it just cooks enough to hold the yolk in the center. See, there's enough oil, but it's not covering the entire yolk while cooking it. This is the time to make your egg look nice and pretty. You can play around with it and just get the proteins where you want them. See, now my egg yolk is centered. This makes me proud every time. Once my egg starts to look cooked in the bottom, I like to add a small amount of water, approximately a tablespoon, just to create that steaming action. And then I like to cover it. Great. Can you see that steam coming out of the stove? Out of the pan? I love my eggs runny. So I like to make sure that the white is fully cooked, but not the yolk. I usually just don't even eat the yolk when it's hard. I mean, it's just my personal preference. So I want to give it a couple more seconds, kind of just moving it around to make sure the whites are fully cooked. See? Now my whites are fully cooked and ready to be served. I want to move quickly in this process. I don't want to overcook my whites. These eggs are exactly the way I like them. Nice and runny, but the white is fully cooked and no longer translucent. What I like to do is immediately remove the eggs from the heat, unless you like it to be medium or hard. You want to remove it away from the heat immediately so that it's perfectly cooked and not burnt or overcooked. Make sure you turn off your stove for safety. And this is how you pan fry an egg. In this case, it's an over easy egg, my personal favorite. I like to season my eggs, so I add some of those herbs I cut earlier to it, and of course some salt. I personally like salt. I know I shouldn't eat too much of it, but okay, fine, no more. There you have it, perfectly cooked over easy eggs.